Okay, so today we're going to go through a really easy technique, how to work out your fat loss calories. Now the first thing you want to do is you want to know your weight. This is because the amount of calories that you need is slightly dependent on how heavy you are. It's also dependent on your activity, but we'll get into that later. The first thing you're going to want to do is weigh yourself in kilograms. Once you've got this number, this is the number you start with, and we're going to call this body weight. Once we've got this number, we're going to multiply it by 22. That's going to start taking us towards our maintenance calories. So say for example, I'm 100 kilos, I would do 100 times 22. That's going to give me 2,200 calories. This would be the amount of calories that I needed to maintain my weight while doing absolutely no activity. But we all move around, don't we? Some people do a little bit of activity getting around the office. Some people do quite a lot of activity, maybe standing up, you know, being a salesman, being a teacher, walking around all day. And other people have quite high activity, labourers, bricklayers, people working in manual jobs. You need to decide which one of these you are. Generally, for most people, you're going to be between the first two options. There's very few people that generally do a massive amount of activity in a day anymore. However, the three numbers that we need to look at are these. These are our activity multipliers. 1.2 being for the least active, quite sedentary. 1.4 being for, average activeness. And 1.6 being for highly active people. What you need to do here is you need to multiply this number by the correct multiplier for you. Now these may change on different days, so bear that in mind when you're planning it. You could have some days where you're 1.2, some days where you're 1.4, and even some days where you're 1.6. You don't have to stick to the same thing all week. You can set your calories for that day depending on what you're doing. So we're going to take our 2,200. I don't do much. I'm an online personal trainer. I sit down on my laptop most of the day, especially today because I'm not training. So I'm going to times it by 1.2. I'm just going to use the calculator on my phone because I don't trust my mental maths that much. Not anymore at least. So we're going to do 2,200 times 1.2. And that's going to give me 2,640. Now once I've got this number, this is the amount of calories that I need to maintain my weight while doing my day-to-day activities. But we're not interested in maintaining weight, we're interested in losing fat. To do that, we need to create an energy deficit. We need to actually eat less than this number in order for our body to take the rest of the energy from our stored body fat. Now generally with clients, I use three kinds of deficits. Now the problem with these is, it depends on how lean you are. The leaner you are, the more likely you're going to have to use the smaller deficit because your risk of muscle loss is larger. If you're more overweight, you can get down to these harsher deficits without running into problems because you have more stored body fat to help with that deficit. The more stored energy you have, the more your body's not going to suffer as much. For me, I'm going to take a moderate deficit. I don't want it to be too slow, but I don't want it to be too fast either. Nice middle of the road option. So I'm going to take my 2,640 and times it by 0.8. Again, I'm just going to get the calculator on my phone. You don't need a scientific calculator. So 2,640 times 0.8 equals 2,112. And this is the amount of calories that I would need to eat on a daily basis in order to lose fat at a moderate rate. Now bear in mind, these are ballpark figures. You may need to adjust slightly. You may be in between two of these numbers. It's not an exact science. All it does is it gives you an average idea of what you should eat. If you're not losing weight after a couple of weeks, then reduce those calories slightly and that should get you going in the right direction. But hopefully that's helpful.